This is what we call the cheat sheet. It's our way of helping you make sure you ask all the right questions the first time. Whenever you've hooked up with a prospect and you've set the appointment and you've said, okay, so now I'm just going to hit my record button and verify the information, pull out your cheat sheet and write down the information. Either take notes as you're going or just remember it and use this to make sure you've at least asked all the right questions. First question, so I am recording. Can you spell your first and last name for me? We've learned there's no better way to ask that than just like that. And your title is? Just write it down. We really don't care what the title is. We don't like hearing titles like secretary or receptionist, but it's the next question that's the most important. I don't know if you'd make the final decision, but obviously you'd have a major influence on which benefits could be offered to the employees, correct? That has to be yes. If they give you anything other than a yes, like maybe, or I could pass it along, or maybe, but it sounds like a yes, you can say, is that a yes? But if you get a no-ish answer, like, oh, not really, or I don't think so, or no, ask it one more time exactly the same way. Well, I know you wouldn't make the final decision, but obviously you'd have a major influence on which benefits could be offered to the employees, correct? If you get a yes, if you don't get a yes the second time, move on. Next, is this the headquarters for the company? And if it isn't, ask them how far away the headquarters is. It needs to be an hour drive or elsewhere in the same county. Number 5, how many W-2 employees do you have at the whole company who work at least 20 hours a week? Whatever they tell you, write it down. If they give you a clue like, well, right now, or during this season, or we're going to be hiring some more, just ask them how many they have now. But we do want to find out if it's seasonal or not. We don't like seasonal people. These have to be W employees that work year-round. And you don't use a PEO or an employee leasing company, do you? If you say PEO like that, chances are people will understand it the first time. If they don't know what you're talking about, move on. It probably means they don't know. And can you verify the company name, please? Sometimes they will just give you the name and the address. If they don't, then say, and your physical address is... If you ask it like that, they'll probably give it to you all at once, including the city, state, and zip. We do need the city, state, and zip. Does your company offer any voluntary benefits now, such as Colonial or Allstate? If you say it like that, it reminds them what you're talking about voluntary benefits, but doesn't prompt them too much. If they say, no, we don't, you say, great. If they say, yes, we do, you drop down here and say, which carrier is that? And then regardless of what they say, you must ask the next one, which is, but you would be willing to take a few minutes to see if Aflac could offer your employees a better value, correct? Has to be yes. And does your company offer Aflac now? Has to be no. Has the company offered Aflac or done a payroll deduction for Aflac in the past 2 years? That also has to be no. And you haven't seen an Aflac presentation in the past 6 months, correct? They can't have seen a presentation in the past 6 months. So I'm putting you down as interested in sitting down with a rep from Aflac for a 15-minute presentation, correct? Make that a separate question. And then the next separate question is, and we decided on Wednesday the 15th at 9 o'clock, correct? That's a separate question. And then another separate question is, do you have that on your calendar? Would you like us to mail you a reminder about the appointment? It can either be yes or no, but we cannot give them a fax. We cannot send them an email. You don't have to explain why that is. If they say, well, can you send me an email? Say, oh gosh, what we do is send you a little postcard. Would you like me to do that? If they don't want a postcard, move on. Just to help the rep find your location, what's the nearest cross street? And some of our good telemarketers say ahead of this question, and last 2 questions, just to help the rep find your location, what's the nearest cross street? Now, if their address is 123 Elm Street, and they say the cross street is Elm Street, that doesn't help us much. You need to say it's the nearest intersection, if they don't understand what you're talking about, or you're on Elm Street, what's the biggest corner near you? And last question, just for quality assurance purposes, was I polite and professional? and that's got to be a yes as well. And then what we strongly suggest you do is say, thank you for your time. We'll count on seeing you then. Bye-bye. And then hang up. Don't engage them in conversation at the end like, and you have a good day, okay? Or, hey, thanks for helping me. I sure appreciate your time. Every succeeding second you spend here is a risk that they will ask you a question you don't want to answer. So we say, after you hear the polite and professional answer, just say, thanks for your time. We'll count on seeing you then. Bye-bye. Hit hang up. That's how you do the cheat sheet.